We thought it would be a good idea to start doing podcasts from young people for young people, as there are not many about. Most of the podcasts available to do with fostering and adoption are by adopters, people who have gone through the process. So we thought we would start our own series called We Talk Adoption and Fostering. If you want us to discuss a specific topic, do get in touch and let us know. We'd be happy to help.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about misconceptions and assumptions of adoption and the whole process. And here in the studio, we have Scott and Holly and Marshall. How are you guys doing? How are you, Holly?
I'm doing good.
Marshall, how are you?
I'm good.
Scott, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Okay, so we're talking about misconceptions and assumptions. Coming from my perspective, I was sharing the other day with someone that I had a misconception about adoption, before I started working with Scottish Adoption and Fostering. And my misconception was that, like, I just felt like the adoption process was going to be all, like, rosy and all the kids are happy, like, oh, finally, like, we're adopted. And that was the idea I had of adoption. And so it's like, it's important to talk about these things so that we can sort of unlearn, Does anybody have any experience to share about some misconceptions you've had, probably? Holly, do you want to go first?
One of the assumptions is like everything's just like Annie, because folks see it in the movies and they automatically think that that's how the adoption process is. Like when I was younger, I always got called Annie, and I thought it was just because of my like curly red hair. Like I would start telling folk that I was adopted, and then that's when they told me that I was like Annie, and then I was like, it kind of just hit me. I was like, oh, that's what they mean. But
Marshall, do you have any experience you want to share?
Nothing like particularly bad. Like there was this one incident that was a while ago, P2 or P3, where a boy said that I don't have a dad, and like he didn't mean it in like a rude way. It was more just like stating a fact. To be honest, I've not got a clue because I didn't really go around telling people it. People just like found out, and I've still got no idea how they've done that. Scary how much they found out.
because folk just kind of make it a big deal once they find out.
Like it's not that big of a deal. Like I've got a family.
Depends, like, kind of if you want to make it a big deal or not, but other folk kind of make it a big deal anyway.
You don't have a control of like what people say about it. It's it can be it can be bad.
Some people like to keep these things like private in their lives, and it can hurt people if things get out, and that can then cause more stereotypes and
more
assumptions about people.
Some families try to keep it a secret from their adopted kid that they are adopted.
Yeah, like why would you do that? Like why would you adopt in the first place if you're ashamed of it?
It could be like very damaging to your relationship with your child, and when they find out later, are they really going to trust you for these sort of things?
For that long, like basically living a lie. Like
Yeah. And you also, like, you watch a lot of movies where they do that and it just never ends well. Like when they hide it and they don't tell them till like you're 20 or 25 or they happen to, and so it's always, like that. And then speaking of movies, I know there are a lot of movies about adoption. Like Holly mentioned Annie.
I've seen The Dumping Ground, yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking until this morning.
It's kind of like an orphanage, foster home kind of thing, where a load of kids and teenagers all, I guess, get dumped. Clues in the name. And it's quite extreme. There's a lot of storylines going on and drama between different people, and I think it's a bit too extreme from reality.
one misconception is that people think that when you're adopted that you're just like sitting around in an orphanage waiting to be picked.
Like,
yeah.
it's just
Like people just kind of think that you're sitting in an orphanage waiting around to get adopted. It's really nothing like that at all.
I don't know. I think when people think like of like the whole entire fostering thing, they like imagine like a council house with like 20, 30 kids in it, and that's just like not how it is.
I think mostly these things are people are quite inclusive nowadays and accepting for these sorts of things, but obviously people don't know enough about it because they haven't experienced it, and that can lead to judging and all these sort of misconceptions as they don't know, and they just sort of jump to conclusions or speculate about what somebody's going through.
It's like the whole idea of it, like if you're adopted, it was your fault, and like you're the one to blame for it. Like you're the reason that you have only got yourself to blame for it. Like, that's what people make it out to be, when that's not always the case.
People make it out like your life's like 20 times more difficult all of a sudden. Like, I remember I was talking to this girl, and then she was like, we were just sat in like her house, and she's like, "Oh, we've all had a hard life here." And then she turned around to me and she was like, "Some folk more than others." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" I know. She was like, and I was like, "What do you mean?"
You care to elaborate on that?
I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Well, you're adopted." And I was like, "But that doesn't make my life any more hard. Like, I think being adopted was the best thing that could have happened to me." And she was like, "Yeah, but like, you're still gonna be adopted." And I was like, "Yeah, but
Oh no way, that's crazy.
like, I wasn't gonna unadopt myself. I wasn't gonna put myself back up for sale. Like,
I thought it was a 3-month trial.
You guys are young. I'm young still. Well, I might not be young as well as you guys, but you guys are significantly younger. And so it's like always been in school settings like that. It's like I imagine it's like more difficult to manage, especially even not only with your peers, but like with teachers. Like, is there any like experience that you have like with teachers and like maybe what they tell you to do assignments?
Yeah, so the whole entire concept of having to do like a family tree thing. So I don't know how it was in like everyone else's school, but basically we had to do was, I guess, kind of like find out like, I don't know, it was like 2 generations or something of family, and then we'd have to make a tree. And well, for some people who are adopted, that can be difficult because, well, first of all, we've got the biological family and then the adoptive family, and you might not have any information on the adoptive one, or not enough to do it. I mean, if you do have like enough information, well, then that's great. But I guess some people might not, and then you feel kind of singled out.
and when you go to the doctors, and then they ask about, "Oh, does anything run in the family history?" And it's like, you honestly can't tell them because it's like you don't know. And even like, I remember in primary school always getting asked, like, "Do you have any siblings?" And biologically I have 2 brothers, but because I'm adopted, I only see them once a year. So it's kind of hard because it's like, yeah, but then like, because it's like, yeah, I do, but like, what if they ask, "Oh, what did they do?" Because I could not tell you how old any of them are. I just know that they're there. So that's quite tricky.
I kind of the same thing. I've got 2 brothers and 1 sister at the last count. I don't get to see any of them. Like, I have never had any contact with them. Not a contact with my mom or my dad's. It's I don't know. I don't know if I want that though. You know, 'cause like it's all well and good of me like having like, I don't know, like thoughts in my head about like why I'm kind of like adopted or something, but I don't know if I want like it to be confirmed. Like, if it'll make it better or worse, I'm not sure. So
Another tricky thing about siblings was it's like, one thing that kind of spirals in your head is when your biological family kept them but not you. It's like, "Oh, how come they got kept but I didn't?" And siblings, yeah, it just kind of spirals in your head. I think another thing about siblings is like, because, for example, I know that me personally, I only see them once a year. I tell people that, and then when they've got siblings, they're so quick to be like, "Oh, I wish I only got to see my siblings like once a year."
no, like
I don't think they realise how
Yeah.
much like
They-
it would bother
like
someone.
I don't care like how much you say you hate your sibling. Deep down, you love them, and I know that for a fact. Very hard to like actually hate your sibling. Like some kind of like, I don't know, magical contracts or something that you have to love them. Your siblings will like always be there for you, I think.
An experience I've had at school is like when I was leaving primary school in P7, we were asked to provide baby photos and photos of us now, like to showcase how much we've grown and congratulating us on our journey through primary school and that kind of thing. And the majority of people have baby photos, but I didn't get mine until after I'd left primary school. So I wasn't able to provide that, and that kind of singled me out, I guess. The teachers.
Could like Google like cute baby photos or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like the experience is definitely different from for other people, and then we see like in different settings they're like different things. Like Holly said about the doctor, and Marshall said about like school. Is like even the people you expect to like know better also make like offhand comments. Like some parents are like, threatening their children with like punishment or something like that. Like, "Oh, I'm going to put you off adoption because you're being naughty." Like, Holly, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I just think people need to, ironic because I just said that I don't do this, but I think people need to think before they speak. But like you, but you always see people being like parents being like, "Oh, if you don't stop misbehaving, you're gonna get put up for adoption. You're gonna get put in an orphanage and all that." And it's like, yeah, but And when people do like stupid stuff, and then they're like, oh my god, I'm so adopted. But I think one of the worst things is I always see this on TikTok.
I'm so adopted.
I've heard folk come out with that. Like, they do something stupid and then they're like, oh my god, I'm so adopted. I've seen so many TikToks where people are like, oh, if my kid supports this football team, if my kid dresses like this, I'm going to put them up for adoption. And it's like,
Goodbye and get rid of it.
You guys have really given like valuable insights. But like before we go, does anybody have any last no, everybody's gonna say something. Just one thing that you want people to take away from this episode, like when it comes to misconceptions or having assumptions or like stereotypes. And yeah, I mean, Holly, you've already said something like, think before you speak, and I feel like that's valuable. Marshall, what's your last
Lord. Like, just don't speak about it if you don't have a clue of what you're on about. Like, you can't just go out and like saying stuff like, oh yeah, you're adopted, no one loves you. You can't just say that like without actually having an understanding of what they've been through.
I think it's natural to be curious about things you haven't experienced, but I think that if someone shares something with you, then you should actually try and put yourself in their shoes and think, how would this make me feel? Like, how would this affect me? I mean, they might think, I haven't gone through this, so I don't really know, but they could try and picture it.
adopted people don't wear it on their forehead. They don't wear a massive sign that says, I'm adopted. So you kind of just need to...
It's like a post-it note, I'm adopted, go away.
So I think people do just need to think before they speak, because anyone around you could be adopted. They just maybe choose to not tell that side to their story.
And remember, like, I feel like it's also not your responsibility to always, maybe get into arguments or like try to convince anybody anything. Like, you can just, as well, if somebody is like stuck in their ways with their assumptions, you can as well just live it, right? I think like that's like fair enough. Yeah. So thank you for listening, and yeah, see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Good morning or good night, wherever you are.
Bye.